I am joining from Worcester, Massachusetts.
UMass. Okay. Are you a big Celtics fan?
I'm not really into sports, but I do like the Celtics. When I was younger, I used to be a lot into sports. And at that time, I was living in New York, so I was a huge Knicks fan. And I'm a Tom Brady fan, like for sure.
Now, when I was researching your company, and I want to hear about your book too that you wrote, but I was wondering what brought you down this specific path of coaching, because it takes a lot of personal energy to do that. I know many life coaches.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. It's very investing of time and your personal energy. What brought you down the path? How did this start?
For sure. It was my own transformation. I never thought I was going to be a life coach. If you had asked me 6 years ago if I would someday be life coaching, holding a safe space for people to grow, doing the work that I do, I would write a book, I would be speaking, I would have been like, yeah, you're crazy. But in 2019, I had a spiritual awakening. I didn't know I was going through a spiritual awakening. I didn't know I was going through a black night of the soul till like after. But all I know is that in 2019, early 2019, I was feeling like I was disconnected from everything and everyone around me. And, to the outsider, it looked like I had it all. I had the house, I had the car, I had the husband, the kids, the dog, like it seemed like my life was perfect, yet I had never felt so alone. And I remember like being surrounded by my family and just feeling so disconnected to everything and everyone. And I feel like that took me into a journey of finding myself.
Why did you feel so alone? Like, what was it that?
I was being pressured to grow. I realized I remember it all happened very dramatic. I know we all have that moment, but I hear a lot of spiritual people talk about that dramatic moment. For me the reason I felt so alone is because I didn't know I had unprocessed trauma and things from my past. And I didn't know I was showing up in that energy of fear. So I was given from a place of needing something in return. So when other people couldn't show up for me in a way that I felt I deserved, I became bitter and resentful, and I felt abandoned, like I wasn't loved, I wasn't connected, like people just didn't care. And it was early spring where I had a moment where I literally, I remember this. It's like I get goosebumps every time I talk about it, because I remember I was working from home. I had dropped off my youngest at preschool for a couple of hours, and I came home to work. At that point, I was doing real estate, to work on real estate business. And it was a cloudy day. My office had this huge sliding window. And I remember just dropped down on my knees. And I was like God, universe, whatever higher power is out there. Like I had never connected to a higher power. Yeah, I believed. I didn't grow up like going to church often. I did go during holidays, but I never really nurtured a relationship with a higher power. I kind of felt that it existed, but I didn't think I could tap into it myself. I thought I needed, first of all, I thought I wasn't good enough to even try to connect to it, right? And those are all the limitations that come on as when you start on this journey, right? So I remember just dropping down on my knees and crying and really being like, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't do this. I want help. What am I missing? I feel alone. I feel disconnected. I just want peace. Like I just want peace and happiness and joy. And how do I create that for myself? And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I cried for seemed like hours, but it was probably like 15, 20 minutes. And I remember getting up and looking in the mirror, and I looked into my eyes, and it was like I finally, for the first time, had seen connected to my soul. And at that moment, I knew things were going to change. And then things did start to change.
Wow. So then how did you start processing that? What did you do to start changing, since you're in this white picket fence, quote unquote?
You surrender. And you ask for help and support, which is what I did. I feel like I had tried to control my whole life. We try to control everything around us. So I gave all that up and really was like, okay, let me surrender. Let me trust the process of life. Let me connect to whatever higher power brought me here. Because I had an epiphany. I was like, okay, I'm here for a reason, right? Because someone brought me here. I'm not here by accident. right? So I was like, the fact that I'm still breathing, that I'm alive, and that I'm here has to be for a reason. So why am I here? What's my purpose? What is it that I'm supposed to do? And I was like, I didn't know where it was taking me, because I didn't even know I was going through a spiritual awakening. I just knew that I hit rock bottom. I felt like I could no longer breathe, and I felt no peace. And I was like, this is not sustainable.
Now, did that change your relationship with your spouse and with your children? You became a different person in essence?
Absolutely. This is when I had the epiphany. So I started my journey. That experience was early spring of 2019, early March of 2019. And I remember initially, I got to say that the first couple of months, even though I was trying to find myself, I was looking for different ways to cope. So I was, finding ways to numb out. I did the whole of, social drinking on the weekends and scrolling, because I was feeling and I didn't know how to feel. It didn't feel safe. So for a few months, I believe that was from spring to mid to late summer, I did a lot of soul searching, but not yet fully integrating and working on it, because I didn't want to feel. So that was my initial process with it all. Then by midsummer, late summer, I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. It didn't feel right. I was like, I'm running, I'm numbing, I'm blocking. Something is trying to process through me. I need to create the space. So I started to kind of give that up and go into what we like to call connecting to my inner self, and really spending time with myself, it can be scary when you're feeling so many things, and it feels scary to be in your body. But I created the safe space for me to do that, and slowly but surely I started to do their inner work. And then after I really committed and went into solitude, because we know we're never alone, and I started to work on self, it was early January that I had realized, I remember I was doing the dishes, it was sunny, it was cold, and I looked out the window and I felt like a whole different person. So I'm like, wow, here I am almost a year later, and I feel like everything's changed and nothing's changed, right? Because everything outside of me was still the same, but inside of me, I felt like a whole new person. So I was like, and then I had the epiphany, all my relationships are improving, and no one else around me was doing the work, just me. And I was like, wow, I had a realization, I'm the cause and the effect of everything. I
center.
Right. Therefore, everything around me changed. And that's when I was like, so many of us struggle in relationships, right? And we don't realize that the most important relationship is the relationship we have to ourselves, which stems, the relationship we have from ourselves is with ourselves, is a relationship that we have to our higher self, our God, our universe.
Answers are come from within. They don't come from outside. It's 100% the truth. The quicker people learn that. A small story on me while we continue this. I've seen spirits since I was a little boy, and I didn't know I went to Catholic church, and they didn't talk about that in Catholic church, and having to come to terms with that type of thing, what it was, that I wasn't crazy. Ended up speaking with people from my grandma's hometown. I'm like, I need help with this, because my mom's side of the family many of the people have gifts like that. Believe me, that those topics are not cool to people, but God made me that way for a reason. And so the advice I give people when I'm giving advice like you're doing, I don't do it for a living, the life coaching. I do it through all of my businesses, though. Very much our companies are run that way. They're very, very, very family based. How I am right now is how I am all the time. That energy is what needs to go to the world. And it doesn't matter how you find God. It can be through religion. It can be through spirituality. It doesn't matter. The biggest problem people have when they're discovering their own journey, whether you're a Christian or not a Christian or a Muslim, it doesn't matter. It's about white light. Right. And humans get too caught up on how they find it versus the fact that they found it. It doesn't matter how. I'm not trying to take your podcast away, but you have no idea how important what you do is to me. So in 2019, you started your journey. That's not that long ago. That's 6 years ago. So when did you start thinking about doing coaching? What did you do as for to make ends meet? What was your job?
So I was doing real estate. I was wholesaling, not doing that anymore, but I was doing that at that moment. And my spouse was, also working. I had worked in corporate America for a long time. I have 3 kids three girls, and through all my pregnancies, I worked with them. So the opportunity came up for us to do real estate in 2017. So in 2018, I was my first time dropping out of corporate America and doing something at home that we were doing together. So it was really nice to be on that journey, to be home with the kids a little bit more. But what got me to that part was, so when I had the epiphany that I'm like, so many people struggle in relationships, and it's like, you figure, it's like when you tap into your soul, you want to give more of your soul. So I'm like, how can I give this? I decided, I was like, you know what? I want to help others. So I set my intentions. You know, when we set our intentions and we take those actions, things start to align. So I remember I had set my intentions. I'm like, how do I help others? I know that I've been
The
able
law of
to.
attraction is what it's called.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't want to let that go. Go ahead.
I love that. No, thank you. Thank you. So I was like, how do I do this? I never thought I was going to do this. I finally was like, wow, I found my purpose by connecting to myself, right? Like so many people are looking for their purpose. Your purpose is within you.
Yes.
You're your purpose. You connect to yourself and you connect to your purpose. Period. And and so I set my intentions, and I remember within a week of setting my intentions, not even a couple of days later, I was checking my emails, and I had received an email from someone who does coaching in the world. I didn't know she was doing coaching, but her name is, I don't know if you've heard of Mandy Morris.
I have not.
She holds Authentic Living, and she's all about being in the energy of love, unconditional love. And it just fell in alignment to me. I remember I got this email. She was starting a new program, helping people how to be coaches, how to have that blueprint. Because I was like, I know how I did it. How do I transfer this into helping others?
Yeah.
So she came to my awareness, had a conversation with her, signed up immediately, felt like it was the right decision. This was early February 2020. And I paid to start coaching with her in early April of 2020. And so she was my first. I went through a 4-month program where we were coaching up people who wanted to be coaches. We're coaching other people. And I remember just really enjoying helping people. And the other coaches there were automatically like drawn to me and will come to me and be like, I feel safe talking to you. You really held the space for me. And people will seek out for more. Like we would do coach each other, and they would come and be like, hey, I'm struggling with something. I was the go-to person for other coaches to come for me to help them and support them. So I was like, okay, I guess I have a gift. I was like, okay, so then I started to coach people for free initially, just so I can learn. And the more I coached, the more passionate I felt, because as a coach, I feel like it's a giving and receiving. As I hold the space, I tell my clients all the time, like there's zero judgment on my end. I see you in the wholeness that you are. And my goal and the space that I hold is to get you to see yourself how I see you.
Mandy, how did you find her? Did you find her like through YouTube or?
God sent her my way through an email. I got that email from her, and I was like, never had heard of her. I clicked on, she had like an introductory video and then the breakdown of the program, and it just felt in alignment, because at the end of her video, I always say this. She talks about the program, and then at the end she says, if no one has told you today, I love you. Oh. Mind you, never heard of this woman in my whole life, but we know everything is energy.
Yes, it is.
I felt her love in my soul. Like I started crying. I was like, I felt that.
Through the email. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is energy. Everything is energy. Everything is. Yeah. The only two emotions in the world, in my belief, are love and fear. And which one guides you? Which one guides you on every decision you make? Which one guides you? Yep. And the more that you have to have a yin and yang. If there's no fear, you wouldn't know what love is. It's not that the two don't need to exist. They do. But which one guides you? That's the whole challenge. You know, God gave us life itself, but also free will. And so the gift of free will is, what choices do you make? You know what I mean? And that's literally, no matter what you do for a living, I don't care what your talents are. These things you and I are talking about are the core of every human being. It doesn't matter what your talents are. It doesn't matter how much money is in your bank account. It's that battle of love and fear, and it's self-awakening. Other people have claimed they're life coaches, but what are they really teaching is what I want to know, and it's so wonderful to hear what you're teaching. And I feel the love from you, through the screen. It's obvious that you're that way. But so when did you when you started learning this from Mandy and you were starting to help other coaches, when did you realize, okay, I can do this for an actual living and not be in real estate anymore and feel like it's okay? Like I'm actually just going to charge people for, you're not giving them a transaction. You know what I mean? You're not selling them a car. Or, you know what I mean? How did that transition happen, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no, not at all. So part of us being able to graduate from the program is that throughout the program, we were coaching each other, but we also had to, once we were done with the program, we had a certain amount of period of time that we had to coach 20 people. And so we had to report back on them, and they contact the people to make sure they got coached and everything so that we can get our certificate. So I remember saying, oh, who am I? Because my family didn't know what I was doing. No one knew what I was doing. And I was like, how am I going to get the clients to do this? I have to coach 20 people. And outside of our coaching program, during just one session, I saw how we were able to work through things and connect. Oh, wow. And they were like, wow, I didn't know this is what was going to happen, and this was really impactful. So they would be like, okay, I have somebody for you, and I have somebody for you, and I have somebody for you. And so I had, within like 2 weeks, I had already coached 20 people, and they kept sending more people.
Wow. So how did you learn to charge? Did you say, hey, give me $100? Like how did you start that process? Did you write a contract, or what did you do?
Right. So after I did it from June, July, August till about September, I was like just coaching for free. And then I was like, because I enjoyed it. I was loving to see when you see people as a coach have those aha moments and those transformations that you know are going to shift the direction of their lives. It's everything. It's truly magical. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I know that because sometimes we feel as spiritual people, we can't charge people for what we do. But I also know that it has to be a balance of giving and receiving, right? So I was like, okay, I can't do this if I have to work full time. And so how do I make a living? So I decided to start, I was doing one-off sessions, did that for a while. So I launched my business in October of 2020. And I started charging initially $50 for a session.
Okay.
And then after a while, I was like, okay, $100 for a session. And then I was like, okay, I saw people having aha moments and shifting, but I was like, okay, I'm ready now I had by that point developed my own blueprint on how to do things, because Mandy showed me to do something her way, but I made it my own according to my experience and what worked for me. So I added that. So I created my own system for coaching. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to have coaching packages. So then I moved to a 4-month coaching package because I was like, I don't want to treat symptoms. I want to give people a real transformation, and that's going to require us some time so that we can dig deep into the roots of what's causing, because people show up with, with some stories and limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging behaviors. And I want to be able to dig deep, and it takes time for the subconscious to trust you so that whatever we need work through comes up. I developed the 3 systems coaching program that I do, which is
tell me what it is. Please walk through that, and then tell me how many sessions in the 4-month period. Please walk through this with me.
Yes, please. So the 3 phases. The initial phase, it's just becoming aware and building trust, right? Because if you don't trust me, you're not gonna tell me whatever is that needs to come from the root for us to work on. So we spend some time. It's all very intuitive. I don't spend 4 weeks here, 4 weeks here, 4 weeks there.
Gotcha.
Because some people need maybe 6 weeks in the first segment. So I intuitively let it flow, and it's never let me down. The initial phase is becoming aware and building trust. Now, once you've done that, once you start becoming aware of yourself and your patterns, we get the second phase is releasing. So what do we need to release? Now that we've become aware of our patterns and our behaviors and our stories and things that are keeping us stuck, it's not the trauma that's causing the pain and the suffering. It's the stories we told ourselves because of the trauma that's causing the pain and the suffering.
Right.
So let's shift the story so that we can elevate the energy. And then you get to alchemize all that energy, and then you get to really connect to yourself.
Changing the story, like change the script on how you think of these things that have happened. That's such a wonderful way, because you're changing the energy, because it's all vibrational energy, and the higher your vibrational energy vibrates, and the more you're around people that are like that too. There's low vibe. I personally believe in reincarnation. I think that we live many lives, and the older your soul is, the more that you naturally understand these things. You're clearly a very old soul. I am as well. How did you? So when you're dealing with a low vibratory soul, a person that you can tell hasn't been on the planet very many times, How do you reach those people?
I'm very intentional with everything that I do. And I feel like everything is just embodying. We can't heal anyone. We can't change anyone, right? That's the illusion that we think that comes from fear. So you have to accept people as they are and see them in their wholeness, right? At our core, we're all loving. We all come from love, right? Because God is love.
Yes.
So anything that's out of alignment from that, it's an illusion, and it's a story that they create to feel safe. We're unfolding our journey, and our journey is beautiful to each other. And when I'm working with clients, I'm very intentional. I attract clients that are ready to take accountability, to work on themselves. So I've noticed that the clients that I had attracted when I first started coaching are not the clients that I'm attracting now, 6 years of coaching. They've grown with me as well.
No, so is it a 4-week? What is it that you're offering?
So it's a 4-month program, 16 weeks of us working one-on-one once a week for 60 to 90 minutes. I tell my clients put aside 60 to 90 minutes. We do it virtually, where we get to work together one-on-one. I would say the average is about 4 to 6 months for someone to really start feeling and seeing the transformation. And it depends where people are in their journey. But it's virtually, there's growth work assignments. I always tell them, because as we are in session and we're talking, there's things that they need to work through. So they always have growth work. Initially, I used to call it homework, and I was like, nobody wants to do homework. And right? Like homework has such a negative energy to it, right? And the work that we're doing is to help them to reflect, connect to self, and grow. So I was like, I call it growth work now.
That's
so
great.
They have growth work. Thank you.
But you need growth work. That's awesome. Now, how did you figure out because if it's an hour of your week, how did you figure out how to package the price of that, and what does it cost? Do you fluctuate, or do you just have a set package?
I have a set package. Right now my prices have changed. It started lower. Right now my packages are $4,000 for the 4 months. And people can either pay up front or make monthly payments. And usually it's the 4 months, so you can pay up front $4,000, or you can pay $1,000 per month. If you wish to do that, that's how I work it out with them.
Now, have you taken on other coaches, or is it still you only working with them? Or do you have other people do that you taught?
Yeah. So the coaching where I didn't necessarily move on to holding space for other coaches. I still do that because I'm connected to other coaches, and I feel like we hold each space for each other, right? Here and there, because I'm in the scene. But I have worked with other coaches. So I work with other coaches that have paid me to work with them. I work with people who do other amazing things in the world as well. So I work with people from all walks of life.
Now, companies, have you ever thought of advertising to companies, helping their employees, having them pay you to talk and have sessions? Is that what you talk about when you're speaking?
Yes. So no, I've done speaking engagements more to talk about, just empowering people and inspiring people to really take accountability of their lives, to stop giving their power away.
Do you even have room for more clients, or are you booked fully where you don't have the time,
No. So no, definitely. I'm in the process of creating new offerings to accommodate more people. And I do have space for some clients. I do have a max number of one-on-one clients that I'll take at any given time. But I do currently have space for that.
What is your goal with what you're doing? Are you trying to make it into something?
Yes. My mission is to impact 100 million lives weekly.
Oh, God bless you.
In whatever way I can.
Yeah. and so you thought of building this into something that, because people that do the kind of work you do, Armida, they're the ones that should be building empires, and not, companies like Apple. I mean, it's not Apple specifically. Do you understand what I'm saying? Anyone that sells a product, quote unquote, wants to build into something. Everyone I speak to, they all want to, but what you're building is actually what people actually need. And that helps them in literally whatever it is that they actually do for a living and with their families. This type of work is essential to be spread. And that's why I think it's wonderful that you want to do that. I'm happy about that. Now, how would you create that though? Would you talk to other coaches and have them underneath if you were able to market for them because here I'm thinking of what you to do. We'll talk about that on another session. But I'm already thinking of what can happen. My mind's already going because
I love that. No, I was just going to say, interesting enough, I had never thought about it. I thought I was going to be a one-woman show for a very long time. And I was like, okay, so I'm a one-woman show. I'll do one-on-one. I'm going to create some digital offerings along with a group course to accommodate more people. And I was like, as I'm thinking and reflecting on all of this, I've had within the same 2 weeks apart, I had 3 previous clients reach out to me and say, hey, have you ever thought about if you ever decide, it's seriously within 2 weeks of each other, that's when I was like, okay, God is trying to tell me something different, to pay attention to something different. 3 different clients were like, hey, have you ever, I want to be a coach, but I would love to be a coach under you. Your work, the work we've done together has really transformed my life, has really changed my relationships. I'm thriving, I'm growing, and I want to give back. I want to do what you're doing, but I don't want to do it for me. So if you ever decide to grow your business and bring on coaches,
you'd be so great at it. I mean, to be honest, there's other people that I talk to on this. I don't know why they're life coaches, and so it's like I end these podcasts kind of quick on those. You're not everyone you meet is supposed to be in this space, you know what I mean? I'm still always very polite, but I kind of like, okay, this sounds like a good podcast. I give them their free stuff and I move on. You know what I mean? I don't feel that way about you at all. And you should be coaching other people. Your light and love needs to be spread. Now, I see you're in Massachusetts because you do it virtually. Is that where your client base is? How did you start finding your clients?
A lot of my clients came from referral from other clients. I do have a website. I do work. I had a client from Canada once. Yeah, I had a client from Canada once. I've had clients for different states, throughout different states as well.
By the way, you don't have a Boston accent. Where's your East Coast accent? I don't hear it at all.
Here's the thing. Everybody is always like, what is that? I was born and raised, I have a mixed accent. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
And I've been living here for a while. Mixture.
Yeah. I do hear a little bit of the Brooklyn. I do hear a little bit of it. But do you miss New York at all? I've never been there.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's beautiful. I did initially because it's so different. I growing up in New York, it was very crowded, very busy, so much going on. And I love it when I'm there, but honestly, I cannot wait to come home when I come home. I enjoy my time there. It's fun, it's exciting. It's too fast paced for me. I live my life a little bit more laid back now.
The energy that you've got to really break down energy when you're in big cities. It's
for sure.
It's a different type, and it's not usually very high vibratory, that I've experienced. I live right in Chicago, and I have I love the city, and it's filled with Midwestern people, and Midwestern people are very warm, and they're all from Michigan or Indiana or Ohio or wherever, you know what I mean? But in Chicago, it's a very clean city. It's also a freshwater lake that looks like an ocean. So those are the things I love about it. Obviously, I don't like winter, but I don't know anyone that does, quite honestly. But I love Chicago for those reasons. But as I'm 50, I start to think about going into higher vibratory areas where there isn't so much of the center of the city. I've never been married or had children. Yeah. And so I haven't needed to move for those reasons, but I don't know. I'm contemplating those types of things. And by the way, I think what you charge is very fair. I think it's very fair what you charge. It's enough to where, because I was hoping it was going to be in the thousands because it deserves to be. You know what I mean? And by the way, when someone's actually paying for something, then they value it. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty accurate what you're charging from my experience of talking to other people that do what you do. I've had to talk people up on their prices, and you don't need to be talked up. I'd raise it when you start coaching other people, obviously. Now, do you have a time and space when you want to start doing that? Have you already thought of how you're going to help move that? I'm already thinking of it. You got me so excited.
I love that. Thank you. So I've set my intentions. Like I said, I'm in the process of rebranding, creating new offerings. I have a book that's being in the process of being published. So I'm working on getting all that done and letting things unfold from that end. I remember that we're not supposed, the how is none of our business. We just need to show up, have our intentions, and do the work, and things will unfold. But that is, it's in the book, so I'm sure it's all gonna unfold.
Now, tell me what this new book is. I want to bring up the old other book too, but since we're talking about the new book, what is your new book? When is it going to be out, and what is it dealing with?
Okay, perfect. So the new book, it should be out by the end of the year. And it's called Your Own Love Heals You. And it's about healing and transforming your heart, because really that's the process I feel like I went through. I feel like I woke up to my own love and the unconditional love that my higher power has for me. And it wasn't until that happened that things in my life started to change. So the book just talks about that journey of really pretty much what I do for coaching, becoming aware of our patterns, releasing, forgiving, and then recreating ourselves from a place of wholeness. Yeah.
Now, how is that different than your first book? Tell me about your first book.
So the first book that I wrote is a multi-author book. It's called Collaboration.
I saw that, Collaboration.
My chapter there is called The Love for Oneness, because I feel like that's what I learned in my spiritual journey, is that we're all one, we're all connected.
Yes.
So the reason why we feel disconnected from one another, it's because fear gets in the way.
Yes.
And
yes. The fact that there's only two emotions in the world, that's people talking about there only being love and fear.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you hear other people say it? You heard me say it. Like,
right.
Do you even hear other people?
I know. I was like, you're speaking my language. Yes. No, you're right. Not a lot of people say it.
No, they don't. And we're not reading it from a Bible or a book. It's like right. it's messages that you feel. I always tell people, spiritual people don't need it to come from a book or a Bible. Nothing's wrong with the Bible or the Torah. I'm in no way defaming those things. It's just that when you're connected to your soul and to God, you get those messages, we don't need a book because it's coming from the actual source. You know what I mean?
I love that. No, we're connected. That's what I found. I didn't realize, like, this wisdom, we all have access to this wisdom, but we have access to that wisdom through our hearts. Mm-hmm. So this is why it's so important for us to connect to self, because I connect to things that have always been there, but I couldn't see them. I couldn't feel them more than anything, because it's not like you can see it, you feel it. It's an inner knowing that it just guides your whole life. And I feel like that's why we get into trouble, because we create pain and suffering in our lives, because our minds are leading, but our hearts are supposed to lead, and our mind is supposed to follow our hearts, but we do it completely the opposite way.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Now, how are you going to promote the book? What are you going to do to promote people hearing about this book?
So I have a game plan for that. So actually, the publishing company that I signed for, they use a lot of AI. I did some research.
They do. Awesome. Yes.
Yes. So they are going to help me build the marketing around it. I'm going to have the book going to be published in soft covered, hardcover, ebook, and audiobook.
Perfect.
And it's going to be published in wherever books are sold, Barnes and Nobles, Target, everywhere. And then they are going to help me with the marketing of the book and getting that out there. And of course, I'm thinking about, okay, how can I serve? How can I give an impact? I want to, be promoting it in my social media pages, although I haven't really been active on my social media pages, but they're my website. And I'm also going to share my book, send books if I can find addresses to people who I would love to read it and have me on their podcast, like Lewis Howell, the greatest, his podcast. So find people who are doing transformational work out there and really talking to spiritual leaders in the hopes that they get my book, they read it, and they bring me on to share my message.
Yeah, connecting to other healers is another way I thought about this too. Like when I'm thinking about the AI tools that I used for my companies, I'm thinking of you connecting to other healers. I'm thinking of you promoting snippets of sessions that you take. Because your format and your system is very well put together. Your verbiage is very well put together. It's accurate too. You're talking to someone who's very spiritual. And so who I don't technically get paid to coach, but I'm doing coaching all the time, with my different companies. We have several eight-figure companies. And I don't mean that to impress you. I'm just saying I deal with a lot of people. And I only started doing, the reason why I even know you is because I was using these tools. I just bought them. And then I'm like, this is so amazing. I want to buy into the company. I literally want to buy the patent. Like, how do I do that? And these people have to, because I don't know how you're selling it, but I sell something very differently. I don't care if I own it, it doesn't matter how you want your product promoted. I'm going to promote it the way I think it needs to be promoted. And then I went right to health and wellness. That's what Drew and I did. We're like, no, we only want it to be in this market of people because they're always thinking of other people. They're never thinking of themselves. So I want to do the thinking. Well, AI does the thinking for them. And then I'm also a fiscally conservative person. So I'm a businessman, and you don't get to that level of those figures without being smart with your money. And I came from nothing. I came from a very, very hardworking middle to lower middle class family. So I know how hard it is to earn money. They were so inexpensive, the tools were, to what it was giving me marketing wise. And I was like, so I bought into it about a year and a half ago. And then, I mean, I've helped certain people sell their company. You know who Alex Hormozi is? He's a very popular YouTuber. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yep. Yeah.
I was just in Vegas with him. I spend a lot of money on the coaching end of him. Not that I don't think he's going to need to buy into any of my companies, but he helps me get I want to sell my solar company in about 2 years. But also some of the people that I've talked to, like you, it wouldn't be specifically for you, I don't think, because of what you're building. You don't need my help in that way, on the way that I'm about to say. But we've bought into certain companies literally from doing this and then help them promote it. And then never majority owner, minority. That's what Alex Hormozi does. He buys a bunch of companies, coaches, and then invests into those companies. It's called acquisition.com. I mean, he's built his to 240 million, I think is what it is now. But I'm not there. I'm a smaller him. That's my model, is doing that. Finding people that offering services, and then maybe later helping them when they build, investing a certain amount of money into the company to really make it explode. What's your final message that you'd like to give people listening to you that's going to be on our YouTube channel about sum up to me what you offer people? Like what do you want to tell future clients?
So I feel like what I offer people is a safe space for people to get to know themselves. I think we run from ourselves our whole lives. This is why we are so disconnected from who we truly are. And I create a space where people can feel heard, seen, and validated, and come back into their bodies so that they can learn to feel in a safe space and open up to their hearts. Because when they're being vulnerable, I always tell my client, we're not being vulnerable with anyone else out there. You're being vulnerable with yourself. And with vulnerability comes awareness, comes truth.
You're so right. You're actually being vulnerable with yourself, not the person you're talking to.
Right.
I love how much your message focuses about within. All answers for every person are within themselves. They are not outward. People look outward. You've got to look inward for your own happiness, for your own growth, and for connecting to God. People like pray up like this. No, God is in here. You know, God's inside of you. God is what connects your human body to your soul. You know, we're just a carcass when we die. It's that soul and human body connection, and God is what unites those things. And so that's all inward. That is not outward. It's so wonderful that you teach this. You and I speak the same mantra in life. And believe me, if my other team was here, my partners, and they would be like, "Oh my God, you sound like Kevin." That's what they would say. You are very similar people, and that's why it just warms my heart that you're doing what you're doing, and you're very fairly charging. I would even charge a little more, quite honestly, as it grows. But that's still good. You did a great job putting it up to that level. I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I received that, and I have to say, like energy attracts like energy. So I'm not surprised we're on the call.
It does. The law of attraction. I've loved this call, Armida, and I look forward to talking to you on Tuesday. And what my marketing team will do, they'll give you the full podcast. Well, first they're going to give you snippets that you can put on your social media, and then they'll email you the actual full podcast. And then we post it on our YouTube channel for our inner Optigrowth company. Everyone sees it, and all the other entrepreneurs that sign up see it, because everyone hears each other's stories that become part of this. That's what I love about it, is it's a bunch of entrepreneurs. It's been such a joy. God bless you. And I'll talk to you on Tuesday. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much for this amazing conversation and for holding this space.